الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Respected viewers, let's talk about the Arkanus Salah, the pillars of Salah. The scholars explain that Arkanus Salati khamsatun وهي فرائضها كذلك, that there are five pillars of Salah and they are also compulsory. فمن ترك منها واحدا, if a person leaves out one of these five aspects, then batalat salatuhu sawa'un tarakahu amadan aw sahwan, then the entire salah becomes null and void, whether it was left out intentionally or mistakenly or forgetfully. The first aspect that is counted from amongst the pillars of salah is that of qiyam. Qiyam means to stand in an upright position. فَلَا تَصِحُّ الصَّلَاةُ بِدُونِ الْقِيَامِ إِذَا كَانَ قَادِرًا عَلَيْهِ. That if a person is able to stand in an upright position but does not do so, then that salah will not be valid. القيام فرض في صلوات الفرض والواجبة ولا يفترض القيام في الصلاة النافلة. فتجوز الصلاة النافلة قاعدا مع القدرة على القيام. That when it comes to the compulsory and obligatory salahs, then qiyam is fard as long as a person is able to do so. Hence, if a person decides that they want to sit on a chair and perform salah, or they want to sit on the ground and perform salah, having the ability to stand and perform salah, that salah will not be valid. But there is some leeway when it comes to the sunnah, or rather the nawafil, the optional salah, where a person can sit even though they have the ability to commence a salah in the standing position. The second pillar of salah is that of al-qira'ah, to recite from the Quran. ولو آية قصيرة, even if a person recites a short ayah or a short verse of the Quran. فلا تصح الصلاة بدون القراءة. Salah is not permissible without having recited some Quran. القراءة فرض في ركعتين من صلوات الفرض. That in a fard salah, in a compulsory salah, your 5 daily salahs, the first two rakats require that a person recites from the Quran. And then if it's a 3 rakat salah or a 4 rakat salah, then the qira'ah in the third rak'ah or the fourth one or both is not really something that is necessary. So there is some leeway in that. The scholars then go on to say that وَالْقِرَاءَةُ فَرْضٌ فِي جَمِيعِ رَكَعَاتِ الصَّلَوَاتِ الْوَاجِبَةِ وَالنَّافِلَةِ. When it comes to the obligatory and the optional salah, then to recite from the Quran in every rak'ah that is necessary, it is fard. وتسقط القراءة عن المصلي إذا كان مقتديا بل تكره له القراءة. That if a person is performing salah behind an imam, then the imam's recitation is sufficient for him. The imam covers the recitation for the entire congregation, or even if it's just one congregant. In fact, when a person is following the imam, they should not recite behind the imam. Rather, it would be disliked for them to recite behind the imam while the imam is reciting. And the third aspect, or the third pillar of salah, is that of ar-ruku', bowing down. فَلَا تَصِحُّ الصَّلَاةُ بِدُونِ الرُّكُوعِ. If a person does not bow down after completing the qira'at, the recitation of the verse of the Quran, person does not go into the bowing posture, then that salah will not be valid. The scholars then go on to say that القدر المفروض من الركوع يتحقق بطأطأة الرأس بأن ينحني انحناء يكون أقرب إلى حال الركوع. That if person should go as much as they can into the bowing position, and if a person can go fully into the bowing position, that would be the best. And what is the complete bowing position? فإنه يتحقق بانحناء الصلب حتى يستوي الرأس بالعجوز. That the person's back and head will be straight as they are bowing down, so a person becomes, so to say, like that shape there, like like a rotated L, if you want to call it that. The fourth pillar of salah is that of sujood, prostrating before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَا تَصِحُّ الصَّلَاةُ بِدُونِ سَجْدَتَيْنِ فِي كُلِّ رَكَعَةٍ. If every rak'ah of salah requires that a person completes that rak'ah with 2 sajdas. If a person does not perform 2 prostrations in every rak'ah, that salah is not valid. And القدر المفروض من السجود يتحقق بوضع جزء من الجبهة ووضع إحدى اليدين وإحدى الركبتين وشيء من أطراف إحدى القدمين على الأرض. That what is the bare minimum sajda, so to say, just to be on the safe side, that the portion of the forehead touches the ground, as well as one of the two hands, one of the two knees, and some of the toes should be on the ground. But the perfect sajda, كمال السجود يتحقق بوضع اليدين والركبتين والقدمين والجبهة والأنف على الأرض. The person places both hands on the ground, the forehead will be on the ground, the knees will be on the ground, the feet will be on the ground, all the toes will be on the ground, the nose will also be on the ground. So if you look at it, the forehead, the nose will be on the ground, the hands, the knees, and the feet all will be on the ground. ولا يصح السجود إلا أن يكون على شيء تستقر عليه جبهته بحيث لو بالغ الساجد لا يتسفل رأسه أبلغ مما كان حال الوضع. In short, the scholars explain that the sajda, when placing the forehead, it should be on something that is, so to say, stable. The stability, it is something that is firm, rather, something that is firm. So people ask about performing salah on a foam mattress, or you get these musallas, these prayer mats that have a bit of foam in it. Yes, sajda will be permissible on them so long as the forehead will be firm on that. If there's no firmness, then obviously the sajda will be compromised. And then they go on to explain, the scholars explain that ولا يصح الاقتصار في السجود على الأنف إلا إذا كان له عذر. Person cannot just only place the nose on the ground and call it a sajda unless there's some valid excuse to do so. Person got injured on the forehead or whatever else it may be. And من سجد على كفه أو على طرف ثوبه جاز مع الكراهة. If a person performs sajda, but when they go into sajda, then their sleeves end up being on the place where the forehead is, that will be, so to say, makruh, it will be disliked. Or a person making sajda on any part of the clothing, a person is wearing an imama, a turban, and the turban goes onto the floor, and the person places their forehead on that and performing sajda on that, that will be disliked. Sometimes happens where people wear also these shawls or these scarves. The next point the scholars explain is ويشترط لصحة السجود ألا يكون محل السجود أرفع من موضع القدمين بأكثر من نصف ذراع. That for part of the validity of prostration is that the place of the feet should not be more than half an arm's length higher than where the forehead is being placed. Because if the feet is going to be more than half an arm's length higher than where the forehead is being placed, a person is like that, then such a sajda will not be permissible or it will not be accepted. فإن زاد ارتفاع موضع السجود على نصف ذراع لم تصح الصلاة إلا إذا كان ازدحام شديد. Yes, there is a particular scenario where that will be okay, where that such a sajda will be acceptable, and that's when you read in a place that's really, really, really crowded. But then again, in today's times, that becomes a bit of a difficult situation because we can always, if a place is really crowded, they can always be a second jama'ah, a second congregation, and so forth. And the last aspect that is a pillar of Salah is Al-Qu'ud Al-Akhirah or Al-Qa'dat Al-Akhirah قدر قراءة التشهد. The person before terminating the Salah, before completing the Salah, when they come up from the second sajda of the last rak'ah, to sit. Not just to come up and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, no, but rather to sit, at least for the duration that it takes to recite the tashahhud. What is the tashahhud? At-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibat. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. The scholars قد عد بعض الفقهاء الخروج من الصلاة بصنع المصلي من الفرائض ولكنه عند المحققين ليس بفرض بل هو واجب. The scholars then have a separate point with regard to the termination of Salah, which we will go through, inshallah, some other time. Nonetheless, we terminate here. We have just spoken about the pillars of Salah, those things that are fard and compulsory to be carried out for the validity of Salah. In our next lesson, we will talk about some of the wajibat of Salah, And those things, okay, we will explain what are the wajibat of salah, and after that, inshallah, we'll move on to discuss the sunan acts of salah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the understanding, and also just to let you know that this is per the Hanafi madhab, or what we say according to the teachings of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, and those who followed in his principles. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to understand whatever is being discussed and to implement them in our salah. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.